Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of Making Poor Decisions, where today I'm going to be doing my part in the Great Mead project. Now, I had this fantastic opportunity to team up with other mead content creators, such as Doing the Most, Faywood Mead, Manwood Mead, Arrow to the Mead, etc., etc. And a few weeks ago, we put up a poll in the greatmeadproject.com of just basically a list of ingredients. So we all chose 2 ingredients. Each of us creators chose 2 ingredients, put it in a list, and asked you guys to list your favorites, rank your favorites. Now, the ingredients that I put in were actually sage and green tomato, because I actually had a green tomato mead not that long ago, and it was so good. So I wanted to challenge myself and challenge the other creators to use that ingredient, but unfortunately that wasn't chosen. Still going to make a green tomato mead someday, but it won't be today. Instead, the ingredients that were chosen were lavender, rose, and vanilla. Now, 2 out of those 3 ingredients I'm really excited about, because I know that lavender, vanilla, and honey go together really well. The outlier for me is rose. Now, I enjoy rose-scented things. I even enjoy certain rose candies and rose water and things like that. I'm not opposed to it, but the 3 ingredients combined are a little grandma-ish. So, we'll see what happens. So, I had a lot of ideas on how to create this mead. Now, I wanted to be lavender forward and vanilla forward, and I kind of want that rose to sit in the background, because as I mentioned before, I like rose flavored things, but it can be really overpowering, and I didn't want it to be too floral. So what I decided to do is I made a tea out of some of my favorite tea. This is Harney & Sons Victorian London Fog, and what it is, it's black tea with notes of lavender, citrus, and vanilla. So I put 8 sachets or sachets of that tea into a 1-gallon batch of spring water, and I also added 6 additional teaspoons of these lavender buds, because I really want the lavender to come forward more than the tea. The vanilla obviously is going to get lost in it. The vanilla always gets lost in teas like this. And I'm going to be adding some more vanilla and the rose when I put this into secondary. So this is just what I'm going to be adding into primary. And for my honey, I am actually going to be using Be Natural LLC's almond honey. It's my favorite honey of all time. I love working with this. I made some of my favorite meads with this honey. And I have roughly 3 pounds in this container. And I am going to be using all 3 pounds of this today. Now, I'm normally a dry mead kind of gal, but I'm hoping to make something a little bit sweeter. I think that with these flavors, something sweet would be a little bit better than dry. So I'm going to be starting with 3 pounds, and I'm likely going to be back sweetening as well. I might back sweeten with wildflower honey. Let's see what I have. It looks like some of this crystallized. I've had it sitting for a little bit. I'll just add some more tea to this, shake it up so I can get my 3 pounds. Because right now I'm sitting at about 2 pounds, 9 ounces. And she's chunky. So I'm going to do this off camera. I'm going to try and loosen some of this up, maybe heat some of it up, put some tea in there, shake it out. Because I do want to get as close to 3 pounds as possible. Right now I'm 2 pounds, 10 ounces. So I'm going to be right back, and I'll see what I can do about getting this closer to 3 pounds. So I ended up with about 2 pounds, 12 ounces, so I was just 4 ounces short of a full 3 pounds, which I think it's going to be fine. As I mentioned, I'm going to have to back sweeten this anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. So 2 pounds, 12 ounces is my starting, and that is Be Natural LLC almond honey. Had it for a little bit, so it kind of crystallized, which is fine. It's still good. Honey doesn't really go bad, and it's perfectly fine to work with now. And I'm going to get my tea in here next, making sure to spill at least a few drops onto my dress. That's a very important part of this process. It just won't turn out the same if you don't get covered in tea. Won't taste as good. And yeah, this is really basically just smells like straight lavender, which is really what I wanted. I wanted more of a lavender, vanilla, honey with maybe just rose on the nose. I don't know. I don't want my mead to taste like grandma. So I have a little bit more than halfway filled, this carboy halfway filled. And I'm going to give her a good old shake. Oh, this is a really cool color. And I'm going to shake this until my almond honey is incorporated. So the almond honey is kind of dark. This tea is kind of dark. So it's going to be, I think, a darker mead. We'll see. Sometimes it tends to change color a little bit as it ferments. But I'm just going to give this a shake for a few minutes. You don't have to see me shimmy shaking all over the place. But I'm going to come back once this is all incorporated. All right, so I shook it to the point where there is no honey sticking to the sides of the carboy and there's no honey sticking to the glass bottom. So I think she's just about ready. At this point, I'm going to add 1, 2. Are you going to do this to me? I'll get you, my pretty. It's going to be fine. I'm going to add 3 dried tangerine peels. This always happens to me. I always get one stuck. One of these days I won't have it stuck in the funnel, but today is not that day. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of my tea. Oh, she is nice and dark. And I'm going to fill it to about, maybe about there. Let me let that settle down for a little bit. I might add a little bit more. So I like it up a little bit higher. Should be okay. Wow, that is a beautiful color. Yep, all right. It's probably too much. I'm definitely going to have foam. I'm probably going to have to do a blow-off tube with this one. Always with the tea meads. I always have to... I always end up getting a blow-off tube with my tea meads. They're just so foamy and so active right away. I actually just started 2 meads earlier today, and as soon as I put them on the shelf, they were bubbling. They were fermenting within like 30 minutes of me putting the airlock on them. So tea meads are active, and almost all of these were tea meads too, by the way. So now I have my honey and my tea in there. At this point, I'm going to get a gravity reading. I could get the gravity reading after I put in my yeast, but this works just as fine as well. Go ahead and see what we got. Just want to get it to the point where she's floating, which, there we go, we got liftoff. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. All right, I am at a 1.09. 1.09. And to this, I am going to add 1 packet of Lalvin EC-1118. Why am I adding this yeast? Because that's what I had. Okay. And then right after that, I'm going to add my yeast nutrient. And my yeast nutrient is nothing but a little bit of fermaid-o, fermaid-o being yeast hulls, so it's dead yeast, some spring water. I'm going to add right to here. That'll help kick off fermentation. Might not add all of it because I messed up. Yep, nope, that's a mistake. Yeah, I'm going to have to do a blow-off tube for this. But for the time being, I'll just put my bung on, my airlock on that also has sanitized water. That's not going to stay on for very long because she's going to get active. She's going to get active fast, and I'm going to have to clean off foam from my walls quite often. So for the time being, this is what's going to stay on, but off camera, I am going to put a blow-off tube in here. And this is part 1 of my Great Mead project. So to recap, I put in some black lavender tea, some Victorian London Fog from Harney & Sons. I also added some additional lavender to that to oomph the lavender flavor. I am going to be adding my vanilla component, which is likely going to be vanilla bean paste, into secondary, as well as some rose, and debating of if I want to do a tincture or if I'm just going to add some, I have these little rose buds used to make tea, for making tea. I might just like throw a couple of those in there. I just want the aromatic of rose. I don't want the flavor of rose, but we'll see what I get. I think it's going to be good. I really like floral drinks. I drink quite a bit of tea, quite a bit of floral tea. So this is something that's going to please my palate. I am going to make something a little bit sweeter, or at least attempt to make something a little bit sweeter, because I think with the vanilla and the florals, dry might not be where I want to be with this. But again, we'll see. So I'm going to let this sit and ferment for about 2, 3, 4 weeks, even longer, see what she's doing, see how she feels. And then I will be back pretty much immediately, but not immediately. About a month is going to pass before I come back for part 2. In secondary, I am adding some additional vanilla and rose elements to this mead. Overall, I added about 4 ounces between vanilla bean extract and vanilla bean paste. I added about another pound of rose-infused honey, as well as a few splashes of rose-infused vodka, and I threw a few rose buds into that honey just for some good measure. Now, my second gravity reading turned out to be about 0.992, which is giving me an approximate ABV of anywhere between 12 and 13%. I don't really know how much damage that rose vodka did, but I don't imagine it's very much. So maybe overall the ABV turned out to be around 14 or 15%. I'm sure there's somebody in the comments that knows how to do that math and will surely correct me, though. And here we are on bottling day of the Great Mead Project 2.0. Now, of course, based on our ingredients used, it came out very floral, and I actually had a contest on my Instagram months back about what I should name this. I had a few ideas picked out, and the populace decided on Church Lady. So let's open her up, give her a sniff, test the gravity again. Now, I originally started with a 1.09 gravity, and very, very lavender smell. And on secondary day, I tested it, and it turned out to be 0.991, which is putting us just under 13% ABV. And then when I put this into secondary, I added about, I think, another half pound of honey, because it was, I don't know, I just think it needed a little bit of sweetness. There's so much botanicals going on. It was fine dry, but I just wanted to add a little bit more sweetness. I did not test the gravity after I added that in. I really don't think that it's going to change the ABV much because the fermentation process was done. So I'm going to assume that this is still sitting at somewhere around a 13% ABV. Again, the exact numbers really never mattered too much to me. I know there's plenty out there in the mead community that really need exact numbers, and I don't know. To me, as long as it tastes good, that's the whole point of making mead. This is a hobby of mine and something that I like to do in my spare time, and I like to share it with myself and my friends, and it's not something that's high on my priority list of getting the exact numbers right. I just wanted to make something that tastes good. Now let's see, do we have liftoff? Oh, she is floating, so let's see where it's sitting. Oh, yep. So it's now sitting at a 1.04. So I'm pretty sure that just accounted for the extra half a pound of honey that I added in. So again, I'm assuming that it's still sitting at around 13%, which is good. I'm getting better at not making meads that are 18, 19, 20%, because they're much more enjoyable when they're in this 13% range. Now, clarity-wise, she is not the clearest. Stayed pretty cloudy. Again, I know that bothers some people. doesn't really affect the taste too much for me if it's clear or not. I know some people like to say, oh, you drink or you eat with your eyes first, but again, it doesn't really bother me. If it bothers you, there are plenty of additives you can do, like sparkleoid or other things to clarify your mead if you want that super clear, sparkly drink. But again, this is just for me. It's for my friends, and I don't really care, so I don't really add that. Now, as I mentioned when I uncorked this, the lavender is loud and proud. I'm not getting too much vanilla. I'm not getting too much rose, which I'm not disappointed about not getting too much rose. It smells like tea and it smells like lavender, which I enjoy two of those things together. So let's see. Oh, there's the vanilla. Oh, that's good. So on the tongue, she's all vanilla. Very floral on the nose, very vanilla on the tongue. And sweet. For me, it's sweet. I don't think that anyone would really consider 1.04 gravity reading a sweet mead, but it's sweet for me. As you know, if you've been watching my channel for a while, I don't really like sweet meads. I like a dry mead. Oh, but this is good. It kind of tastes like okay, I'm getting the lavender on the back end. I'm not getting a lot of rose. So I failed in the rose aspect, but it kind of tastes like cream soda with lavender in it. Lavender cream soda. Ooh, church lady, I like you. One might call her special. All right. Oh, I'm super excited about this. Okay, I am going to save the rest of this beaker for me to enjoy because I'm really liking this one. Now I'm going to go transfer this into my labeled bucket here. So tell me exactly how many fluid ounces I have to bottle. Then based on whatever I pull from there, it's going to tell me how many bottles I'm going to need. But typically out of a gallon batch like this, I'll get about 6 12-ounce bottles and maybe one 32-ounce bottle. So let me go ahead and transfer here to here, and I'll be right back with exactly how many fluid ounces I have yielded. All right, so I ended up with about 96 fluid ounces of mead, which I was just a little bit off. So instead of 5 12-ounce bottles or 6 12-ounce bottles, I have 5, and I have one 32-ounce bottle that I'm going to fill up. And of course, I'm going to do that with my handy dandy auto siphon. I'm going to start with the big boy here, fill these up, and then I'll be right back to cap everything off. And there we have it. I have 5 12-ounce bottles and one 32-ounce bottle of Church Lady. The 32-ounce bottle, of course, is a swing top that I started using when I first started bottling mead, and the gaskets are still good on this one, so I decided to use one large bottle that I'm going to age for about a year. And then these little 12-ounce boys I'm going to probably enjoy over the course of that year because I really, really like this one. And I wasn't expecting to. Now, the combination of lavender and vanilla is one that I know and I love. The addition of rose throws me off. Now, I'm no stranger to rose in my food and rose in my drinks, but it has a tendency to overpower things. And so I went kind of light with it, expecting it to overpower everything. And I think in terms of the project, I went too light-handed because it's like maybe on the nose a little bit. Actually, the more I smell it, the more vanilla I could smell. Like it's lavender, vanilla, very upfront. Rose is falling behind quite a bit. Maybe as it ages, the rose will come out more. So in terms of that project, I didn't do that great of a job. But in terms of making a good mead, hell, I did a great job. You know, what it kind of reminds me of, as I said before, it's like a cream soda with a hint of lavender. But the more I taste it, because I did use tea as a base, which is why, by the way, it's so dark. It looks like tea because I used a Parisian fog tea, which is Earl Grey tea with lavender and vanilla in it. And that's exactly what it tastes like. It tastes like a Parisian fog latte. If there's any millennial women that's watching this YouTube video, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It has that exact flavor profile. So I'm really, really, really proud of this one. The ABV didn't get too high, which has been a problem of mine since I started making mead. It's very well balanced. It's very enjoyable. Now it is sweet for me. Like I would probably enjoy this Glencairn and then be done with it because it is, again, sweet for me. I ended up with that overall Greavity reading, I think, of 1.04. And that's probably nothing to a lot of you out there in BrewTube land, but for me, that's sweet. I usually like my meads ending somewhere below 1.0, usually about like 0.991 is usually where I like my brews. So again, this is a little bit sweeter for me, so I probably won't enjoy a huge glass at it, like, you know, this 32-ounce thing all at once. This is definitely a splitter with some people, but I could probably enjoy this 12-ouncer with somebody else and be happy with it. Again, very happy with the flavor profile, a little sweeter than I normally do, but I am not by any means mad at this. I really hope that everyone else who participated in this challenge is just as happy with their mead as I am. I let this age now. I think I started this mead on July 4th of 2022. It is now January 22nd, so it's aged about 6 months already. So it only has another 6 months to go before I really like to say it's like mature. But hell, it's tasty now. I'll enjoy it now. And thank you so much for watching. Go and check out the other videos that all the other creators did. I can't wait to see what they put out. I think some of them have released their videos already. I'm going to be releasing my video the last week of January. We're all releasing our videos the last week of January. But this was a really, really fun project to do. Thank you everyone who invited me. Thank you for doing the most and Man-Made Mead and everyone else who participated in this. It was really, really enjoyable. Cheers to you all and on to the next project. Happy brewing, everybody.